So why is Virgin Voyages so expensive? Is it because they include things like unlimited Wi-Fi or specialty dining? Or their gratuities are included in their base cruise fare? Well, today we are going to be putting Virgin Voyages up against Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Celebrity, and we're going to find out exactly which cruise line offers the best deal for your dollar. Let's go.
I've been traveling non-stop since I was 16, so I figured why not start a YouTube channel? Welcome to Jetlag John.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be answering the question that I probably get the most when it comes to cruising, and that is, what is all included in my cruise fare? I'm going to be taking a look at 4 big brand names. Obviously, we're going to take a look at Virgin Voyages, but we're also going to be comparing that to Royal Caribbean, Carnival Cruise Line, and Celebrity Cruises as well. I'm going to be telling you what's all included in each one of those lines, what you're going to pay extra, and at the end of the day, what your final cost is going to be. I'm also going to be comparing each one of these cruise lines for real pricing on sailings this summer in July and August of 2025. So we're going to have that comparison for you at the end, so you'll definitely want to stick around for that. All right, first up is Virgin Voyages. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, you know that Virgin Voyages is probably one of my favorite cruise lines to cruise with. However, I wanted to dive in and just make sure that I was getting the best deal that I could when it comes to my cruise fare. So, with Virgin Voyages, they are breaking the mold when it comes to traditional cruising. You're not gonna see things like buffets, there's no kids, there's no dining upcharges. They are really taking a different step or a different approach from some of the other lines that we're going to be covering later in this video. But what actually is included in your cruise fare with Virgin Voyages? The first thing you're going to get with Virgin Voyages as part of your cruise fare is access to 20 specialty dining. Now, on Virgin Voyages, like I said earlier, there are no buffets. All dining is considered specialty dining. There are 6 main restaurants on board Virgin Voyages that you do need to make a reservation for. Those reservations open up 45 days in advance of your embarkation if you are sailing with Virgin Voyages. If you are a rock star or a mega rock star, you get access to those reservations 60 days in advance. You can make those reservations through the Virgin Voyages app, or you can do it online through their website as well. All right, the next thing that you are going to get as part of your cruise fare on Virgin Voyages is access to all your non-alcoholic drinks. This includes your still or sparkling water, it includes your drip coffee, all of your standard juices, but it also includes your soda, which on most other cruise lines, you're going to have to pay for a non-alcoholic drink package just to get access to your soda. So definitely a benefit of sailing with Virgin Voyages. Next, we're going to talk about Wi-Fi. So as part of your base cruise fare with Virgin Voyages, you will get unlimited Wi-Fi. Now, this is their standard Wi-Fi, but I have found that their standard Wi-Fi is great if you are just checking your email, posting and browsing your social media, or sending text messages. You are going to be absolutely fine with their standard package. And again, that is included in the base cruise fare. If you do need something a little bit faster, you can upgrade to their premium Wi-Fi, which allows you to do a little bit more streaming of content. And if you are working from sea or need even more bandwidth, you can upgrade to their work from sea Wi-Fi, which is their fastest package as well. But I have found that for the most people, their standard Wi-Fi, which is unlimited and included in your cruise fare, is enough for most people. The next thing that you get with your cruise fare on Virgin Voyages is all of your group fitness classes. So this includes classes like yoga, spin classes, HIIT classes, even some specialty fitness classes like their bungee class. If you haven't heard about that, you definitely want to check that one out as well. But all of your fitness classes are going to be included in your base cruise fare when it comes to Virgin Voyages. All right, the next thing that is included in your cruise fare with Virgin Voyages is all of your gratuities. Now, with the other cruise lines that we're going to be talking about, they do give you an option to prepay for your gratuities, which is a nice option. However, it is not part of the base cruise fare. Virgin actually includes all of that as part of their base cruise fare. All right, finally, what is included in your cruise fare with Virgin Voyages is all of your shows and immersive entertainment options for you. All right, so one thing that is included in your base cruise fare that kind of gets overlooked by a lot of cruisers is the overall vibe of the ship. Now, the vibe on Virgin Voyages is really, like I said, a boutique hotel at sea. It's very modern, trendy, inclusive, very LGBTQIA plus friendly. There are hammocks on the balcony for you to sit in. They have their own tattoo parlor on board, and their brunch is absolutely to die for. So great vibe if that is something that you are looking for. You do not have to pay any extra for any of the amazing vibe that you get aboard Virgin Voyages. All right, there you have it. Those are the things that are included in your base cruise fare when it comes to Virgin Voyages. I love Virgin Voyages. They have a great vibe. They are one of my favorite cruise lines. But again, we'll see how they stack up in the comparison at the end of this video. So stick around. All right, up next is Royal Caribbean. If you're not familiar with Royal Caribbean, they are more of a family-friendly, mega ship, pay-as-you-go type of experience. If that's what you're looking for in your next cruise. Royal Caribbean is known for its mega floating cities, if you will. These ships are incredibly large. There are a ton of activities like surf simulators, zip lines, they have robot bartenders, you name it, they have it. There is activities for everybody on Royal Caribbean. But what is all included when it comes to their base cruise fare? First off, you are going to get access to their main dining room and all of their buffets on board. That's going to be included. However, if you do want a specialty dining option, those are going to cost you extra. All right, the next thing that you're going to get included with your cruise fare on Royal Caribbean is your basic drinks. This includes things like iced tea, lemonade, water. All of those are going to be included in that base cruise fare. And just like most other cruise lines, you are going to get access as part of your base cruise fare to all of their theater and live entertainment venues on board as well. So if you want to catch a show on Royal Caribbean, they have a ton of them. All right, the last thing that you get access to as part of your base cruise fare with Royal Caribbean is access to all of the pools, water slides, and the kids club. You're not going to have to pay extra for any of those. They do have some kind of adventure type experiences on board Royal Caribbean that you do have to pay extra for. All right, so just like I did on Virgin Voyages, I like to include the vibe when I talk about what is included in the base cruise fare, because your experience and what you feel on the ship is definitely something that is going to be included. And Royal Caribbean is no different. They have a vibe that is more fun and active. Think of it more as like a theme park. It's great for families and groups. There's a lot to do, but again, it can be overwhelming as well. So if you are one of those people that just like to go on vacation to relax, not be go, 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 Royal Caribbean may not be a great option for you. However, if you have families with kids, you want to stay busy, definitely take a look at Royal Caribbean. They might be a great option. All right, number 3 on the list is Carnival Cruise Line. This is going to be more of a budget-friendly, party-focused cruise line that just includes some of the very, very basics when it comes to their base cruise fare. So Carnival Cruise Line is known for its fun. They are nicknamed the fun ships for a reason. They are probably going to be the most affordable cruise line on to the list today, but that comes at a cost. They do offer a solid value if you're looking for more of a casual type of experience. So let's dive into what is included with Carnival Cruise Lines when it comes to your base cruise fare. All right, the first thing that we're going to talk about that is included in your base cruise fare when it comes to Carnival Cruise Line is going to be all of your buffets, your main dining room, and a couple of specialty options like your Guy Fieri burger joint and your Shaq's Big Chicken. Those are all going to be included in your base cruise fare, so definitely take advantage of those and enjoy those on board Carnival Cruise Line. All right, the next thing that is going to be included as part of your base cruise fare with Carnival Cruise Line is going to be your basic drinks. Like Royal Caribbean, this is going to include things like iced tea, lemonade, and water. Any of your soda or specialty drinks, you are going to have to pay extra for those. All right, one of the other things that's going to be included as part of your base cruise fare on Carnival is going to be all of your entertainment, just like on Royal Caribbean and on Virgin, and we'll get to in Celebrity here in a second. Those are all going to be included as part of your base cruise fare. You're not going to pay any extra for things like the comedy shows, the live music, the deck parties, anything like that. Those are all going to be included as part of that base cruise fare. All right, just like Virgin and Royal Caribbean, one of the last things that you will get that is included as part of your base cruise fare with Carnival Cruise Line is access to all of the pools and the water slides. Those are not going to come at any additional charge. All right, and finally the vibe, kind of what you're gonna get when you sail with Carnival Cruise Line. First off, it's gonna be a more laid back crowd. They are going to be a little rowdy and they're gonna be unapologetically fun is how I like to describe them. It's definitely perfect for friend groups, bachelor or bachelorette parties, and definitely a younger cruise crowd. If you are looking for that in your next cruise, I definitely check out Carnival Cruise Line. All right, the final cruise line that we're gonna be covering in today's video is Celebrity Cruises. Now, Celebrity is Royal Caribbean's premium sister brand. So you're gonna get a lot of the same experiences that you have on Royal Caribbean and some of the same things included in your base cruise fare as you get on Royal Caribbean. However, Celebrity is gonna be a little bit more chill, a little bit more elegant and upscale. It's not gonna be overly flashy like you might see on Royal Caribbean. All right, so the first thing that's going to be included as part of your base cruise fare on Celebrity Cruises is going to be access to the main dining room and all of the buffets. Again, just like Royal Caribbean and Carnival, you get access to those main dining rooms, all of the buffets, but your specialty dining is going to cost you extra. And again, that cost is dependent on which restaurants you decide to book or go to on your cruise. All right, the next thing that is included in your base cruise fare with Celebrity is, just like Royal and Carnival, those basic drinks. So your coffees, your teas, your juices, your water, anything like that is going to be included as a part of your base cruise fare. All right, next, you are also, just like all of the other ships, you're going to get access to all of your theater and entertainment options, live music, comedy shows, anything like that that is going on board. You're not going to have to pay any extra for that. Celebrity does do something a little bit different than what Carnival and Royal do, and I really like this as an option for them. However, it is still an upcharge compared to what you would normally just pay on a cruise line like Virgin, but they do offer an all-inclusive package. And this includes all of your gratuities. This includes all of your classic drink package is included in that. And it's also going to include your basic Wi-Fi. So they do give those things to you at a discount, but it's nice that they have a package that includes all of those things at a discount as opposed to having to buy those all separately. But again, that is going to be something that is an upcharge. All right, and finally, let's talk about the overall vibe aboard Celebrity Cruises. So first off, this is going to be an upscale experience without being too stuffy, which is one thing that I love about Celebrity Cruises. They are great for couples, adult friend groups. Definitely if you're a member of the LGBTQIA+ community, they are very, very inclusive. But really any traveler who wants style and relaxation without going ultra luxury, Celebrity Cruise Line is definitely going to be the cruise line for you. All right, now that we have covered what is included and what is not included in the base cruise fare for each one of these cruise lines, it is time to put them side by side and do a comparison to see who comes out on top for having the best value when it comes to your cruise dollars. Now, before we jump into it, I did want to go over the criteria I used when booking all of these cruises. First off, I am booking directly with each one of these cruise lines, so no travel agents involved here, and I am doing that through each one of these cruise lines' websites. The second thing is they are all porting out of the port of Miami, going to the Eastern Caribbean. I wanted to make sure that we were looking at the similar itineraries because port fees do affect your base cruise fare. And so I wanted to make sure that they were using similar ports so that the base cruise fare was as close as possible. The next thing that I used as a criteria was the cruise needs to be booked for 2 people in a balcony stateroom near mid-ship. I'm also including a drinks package that includes soda but no alcohol. And all of these sailings need to take place between July 2025 and August 2025. There is about a 3-week window that I took a look at. And so all of these itineraries are sailing during that time frame. So again, seasonality plays into your base cruise fare as well. And I wanted to make sure we were staying as close as possible. All right, so that is my criteria. Let's get right into it. All right, so first we're looking at Virgin Voyages, and this is a 7-day itinerary out of the port of Miami on Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady. So the base cruise fare cost for this specific cruise on Virgin Voyages is $3,906. They are going to have 2 days at sea to start, followed by a stop in the Dominican Republic, a stop in Grand Turk, another day at sea, and then a stop at their beach club in Bimini in the Bahamas before returning to the port of Miami. Now, again, the cost of this cruise is $3,906 for 2 people. Again, there's no extra cost for Wi-Fi, specialty dining, gratuities, drinks, or fitness classes. So the total cost for this cruise on Virgin Voyages is going to be $3,906. All right, next we're going to take a look at Royal Caribbean, and this is a 7-day itinerary out of Miami on Icon of the Sea. So they start with 2 days at sea, a stop in St. Martin, a stop in St. Thomas, a 3rd day at sea, and then a stop at Perfect Day in Coco Cay, which is their private island in the Bahamas. And their base cruise fare for this cruise was $6,273.90. Now, when I took a look at their Wi-Fi package, I included 1 device per person on their basic Wi-Fi package. That added an additional $308. I did not include any sort of specialty dining, so that is not included in this price. Their gratuities, if I prepaid them, were going to be $259. A drinks package that was soda only for 2 people for the duration of the cruise was going to be an additional $469. And finally, the fitness classes. What I did is I took an average cost of all of their fitness classes, and I did 1 fitness class for 1 person every day of the cruise. And that turned out to be an additional $140 to add on to your base cruise fare. So bringing the grand total of the Royal Caribbean cost to $7,449.90. So again, adding about $1,200 of up charges to that base cruise fare. Those things can add up really, really quick. All right, next we're going to be taking a look at Carnival Cruise Line, and this is a 7-day itinerary out of the port of Miami again on the Carnival Celebration. So again, one of their bigger, newer ships in their fleet. They are doing a day at sea, followed by a stop at Grand Turk, a stop at the Dominican Republic, a 2nd day at sea, a stop at Nassau in the Bahamas, and then they stop at their brand new Celebration Key, which again is their private island in the Bahamas as well, before returning to the port of Miami. Now, the base cruise cost, like I said up earlier when we were talking about Carnival, they are probably the most budget friendly. The cost of this cruise is going to be $2,978. But taking a look at all of those additional add-ons like Wi-Fi, I added for their basic social Wi-Fi package for 2 people for 7 days. That was going to be an additional $261.80. I did not include anything for specialty dining. Their gratuities, if you prepaid the gratuities for 2 people, was going to be $224. Their drinks package, which I did just their bubbles, which is their soda only package for 2 people, was going to add an additional $156, bringing the grand total of this cruise to $3,725.74. So again, this is so far the cheapest cruise, but it's only about $200 less than Virgin Voyages is by the time you get all of those extra things that are included with your Virgin Voyages cruise. All right, finally, we have Celebrity Cruises. So this is, again, a 7-day itinerary out of the port of Miami on the Celebrity Beyond. They have a stop in Bimini, a stop at Coco Cay in the Bahamas. Again, they are Royal Caribbean's sister brand, so they share that private island. They also have a day at sea, followed by a stop in the Dominican Republic, followed by a stop in Grand Turk, and then a final day at sea before returning to the port of Miami. Now, the base cruise fare for this specific sailing on Celebrity is $4,633.22. Now, that does include that all-inclusive package that I talked about earlier. So that all-inclusive package does include your soft drinks, it includes your gratuities, and it also includes your basic Wi-Fi. So no additional charges for your Wi-Fi. I did not include anything in here for specialty dining. Again, there was nothing for gratuities because that was all part of that all-inclusive package. And again, drinks were at $0 because those are also included in that all-inclusive package. If you're interested, if I would have prepaid gratuities for this, they would have been about $266 for this sailing. I also included $140, again, taking an average of their cost for fitness classes and doing one class per day for this across the sailing. That was $140. So total for the Celebrity cruise was going to be $4,773.22. All right, so it's time for my final thoughts on where I stand with everything here. So number one cheapest cruise was Carnival Cruise Line. Their total cruise cost was $3,725.74. In second place was Virgin Voyages at a cruise fare of $3,906. If you do the math on that, that's a $180.26 difference. For me personally, and the way I like to cruise and what I look for in a cruise line, I would choose Virgin. It's worth that $180 difference in the cost of your cruise. So for me, I would choose Virgin over Carnival every single day of the week. However, in third place was Celebrity Cruise. Their total cruise price was $4,773.22. Now, this did include that all-inclusive package. So your Wi-Fi, your gratuities, your basic drinks were all included as part of that as well. So definitely something that I would do if I was sailing with Celebrity. I don't think that it's that big of a difference. It's about an $867.22 difference from your Virgin Voyages, so a little bit more expensive. But again, if you're looking for more of that elevated, more relaxed, chill vibe, definitely look at Celebrity. And then finally, in fourth place was Royal Caribbean. I could not actually believe how expensive this was. I have not sailed on Royal Caribbean. I have a lot of friends that have, but I have personally seen Royal Caribbean invest in their fleets, in their ships, and they're consistently doing that, but it is at a cost of raising their base cruise fare. So Royal Caribbean is getting to be a little bit more expensive. And if you think about the vibe on Royal Caribbean, it is more family focused. So I priced this out for two people. If you had a family of four or a group of six that were sailing on Royal Caribbean, you can see how this could get very, very expensive. The final cruise price again for Royal Caribbean was $7,449.90. So way above any of the other cruise lines that are out there. My point being is definitely take a look at all of those extra upcharges that these cruise lines are putting out there. And if you want to make sure that you have a drinks package or you have Wi-Fi, you need to take that into consideration when you're budgeting for your next cruise. So I hope you got a lot out of this video. Please let me know if I missed anything or comment anything down in the comment section below. I love hearing from everybody that watches my videos. And while you're down there, don't forget to like this video. It super helps my channel. And also while you're down there, subscribe and turn on notifications. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.